All right, welcome to Off the Cuff. It is a new day, episode number 7. We have another special guest tonight. We also have Mike, who's returning from a nice trip from Boston. But we'll start it off to my right with Rodney coming in from Florida. How's it going, man?
Going good, man. So we have a tropical depression coming through here. So we've been in the soup here quite a bit through the weekend. So wet and soggy, but hopefully it'll pass through here in the next day or so. So yeah, one thing about living in Florida is you'll learn how to put the National Hurricane Center website on your favorites, because these tropical depressions could turn into a hurricane and pretty quick, man. So you're tracking all these depressions out in the Gulf, making sure that they don't hit landfill. So yeah, so it's just a small one. Hopefully it'll just pass through. Other than that,
Nice.
doing pretty good, man.
Nice. Yeah.
Wait, what are you drinking? What are you drinking tonight?
Oh yeah, so I am drinking just a Yingling lager. Nothing too crazy. Kind of my go-to beer right now.
I dig Yingling. It's one of the few lagers that I enjoy, but they don't sell it out here in Colorado. So I
Oh
don't get
really?
to
I
see
think
it
it's
for-
mostly East Coast thing. I see. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
How confident are you that that's how you pronounce the name of that beer?
Not very
Yingling?
calm. Maybe I'm
You
thinking
sound
70,
good.
70. Yingling, is that how you say it? Maybe.
Yeah. it's
I
Yingling.
think that's accurate. But it could be, you
Yeah.
never know.
All right, diagonal to me is Mike from Utah, back from a nice family trip from Boston.
Mhm,
How's it going?
mhm.
How was your trip?
Trip was excellent. We did every touristy thing in the book, from Red Sox to duck boats to museums to harbor cruises to lots of Italian food and cannolis and lots of walking. It was great. And I am doing something different today, though I am not excited by my choice thus far. Little Cabernet there,
Nice.
and
Nice.
it's slightly below average.
All right, and below me, I got one of my nephews, which happens to be Rodney's son, Justin, also from Florida. How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. We're excited. We're gonna have to pick the mind of a 19-year-old. I mean, you're on a podcast with a bunch of dads, 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are
Yeah.
you drinking by the way, buddy?
Yeah. What
I'm
you got in
drinking
front
some.
of
I'm
Chocolate
drinking
milk?
some Sunny D.
you?
I'm drinking some Sunny D. So yeah, it's pretty good.
This is how old we are, Justin. We were there when it was Sunny Delight, and then they decided that they had to make it cool and renamed it Sunny D.
There you
That was a while ago.
Is it another? Oh
Yeah,
no,
pretty
wait.
good.
Tang is the drink of the astronauts. Yeah, Sunny D's got a weird taste. We used to drink it all the time growing up, but
I think it's 90% sugar or something now.
yeah, I mean. And so I'm Roger, living in Colorado, and I am drinking. So after all these podcasts, Rodney keeps drinking Kona. So I saw a Kona at the store, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get some Kona.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. So tonight is going to be about soundtracks, but I think we're going to get into that later. I think we want to hear a little bit more about your trip in Boston, Mike. How was that Red Sox game? What was it like seeing your kids with like a great scenario of how the game ended? Was it awesome for you? Like, what was that like?
They're probably were on their phones half the time, huh?
It was better than I expected. Surprisingly, my oldest, Isabella, liked it the most, and she is right now, I think, on a daily basis, checking Red Sox scores still, like, keeping up now. So I think she kind of felt it. I always tell everybody when I wear my Red Sox gear, like, oh, you like the Red Sox? Yeah. I'm not a baseball fan. I don't watch baseball. but I'm a Red Sox fan, and I will watch baseball when the Red Sox get in the playoffs. Other than that, I have almost no interest. But being at Fenway and experiencing that game is like, it's something different. It's very unique. I've been to other baseball fields, I've been to other sporting events, and there's something about Fenway that is definitely special. And it's really hard to describe unless you kind of go there, right? So she liked it a lot. The game did start off kind of rough, and so they were like bummed, but what made the game special, and I think the reason why everybody liked it, is because they got to experience that comeback and the crowd getting into it, and all those things, which made the game really cool. So yeah, I'm not a baseball fan, but I'm a Red Sox fan.
Dude, I think that's like the dream scenario. Like, if when I take my daughters to a game, hopefully a Panther game sometime, where it has the potential to make them lifetime fans. Like, I was telling Sarah, I was like, man, like it would have been one thing if it was like a day game, it was really hot, like, they lost by 6. It just wasn't an interesting game. But for them to come back, it be a night game in Fenway, the crowd into it, like that's just like a dream scenario for your kid to become a fan of that team. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, it was cool. I think all my kids really liked it. The funny thing is that my kids, so it's been 18 years, well, not quite that long, 16 years since I've been since we moved to Utah from Boston, and the city has improved dramatically. I mean, I loved it. It was seedy, right? It was a little dangerous, but that's what I liked about it, and there was a lot of cool parts to it. And now all that stuff is gone. All those old rough spots, like that was the places I was hanging out when I was there. So that city cleaned up really nice. It's one of the nicest, walkable, coolest cities to go to. It's a great tourist city. There's lots of really interesting stuff to see, a lot of history that's meaningful. And my kids, being from Utah, there is like no good Italian restaurants here. I mean, there's like 2, and I got to drive a half hour to get to them.
But you got Fazoli's, man.
It's not. What is frustrating with me? All I want is a chicken parm sandwich, just a chicken parm, like a decent chicken parm sandwich. And it's like the most difficult thing in the world. Like, I got to drive miles to get to one. And in Boston, it's like, I just got to walk a mile and a half and I'm there.
Yeah, every like street vendor's got a chicken parm on their side menu.
Yeah, like it's just a staple, And then the pizza, of course, the pizza everywhere is just like knock your socks off. We came back, and in fact, today we went to a really good restaurant here called Slackwater, and it's a great restaurant. And we had the pizza there, and we were like, oh, it's good. It's good. But the funniest thing was all my kids, well, actually, Gabe hasn't said this. My oldest and youngest were like, man, Utah's boring. I want to go back to Boston. Like, yeah, it's boring. Like, if you're not an outdoor person in Utah, it's boring. But if you're into outdoor stuff, pretty cool. So anyway, great trip.
Another thing we kind of laughed about was one of your kids mentioned Bostonians have a cool accent.
Yeah.
And then
we didn't have. Well, I was going to say that there was fewer people we ran into with the real thick accent. A lot of people have like a hint of it, but the very first person we really run into, we come out of the airport and we're a little bit lost trying to find what subway to get on, and so we walk into the subway, and there's a worker there, with the orange vest helping people, and she had this super thick Boston accent, super friendly, kind of teasing the kids a little bit. And it was like, that was the introduction. And they were like, oh, that's so cool. But, yeah.
That, so it reminded me when you used to pull out the Boston accent just randomly, and how it just used to crack me up. We'd be like in Target and you'd be like, hey, Raj, and like just totally crack me up out of nowhere. Did you ever remember that, Justin? Like when you lived there? next door to them? Would Mike ever bust out the Boston accent?
Yeah, I actually think he did like a couple of times. Like when he dropped me off to like basketball practice or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you have you tried to bring it back, Mike, or
I can't do it. I don't remember all the little parts of it. And so I was trying to listen, but I didn't have any conversations. You hear it a little bit. And the only thing I can do is the cliche stuff like everybody else can do. But like the good accent, it's gone because I don't talk to people with it anymore. So I can't really remember how to do it.
That used to crack me up so much. But all right. So tonight's topic, I don't know how much you've been able to prepare, Mike. You've probably been busy since you've been out of town. I'll be interested to know if Justin and Rodney will have similar answers. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe we won't really see that much of a big influence on the topic is, by the way, I don't think I've even actually mentioned it, is best movie soundtracks. I guess we're going for what, top five movie soundtracks for you guys?
Oh, top 5? Okay.
But what were you planning? Just best all around, or a couple hits, or?
Yeah, so there's soundtracks and there's scores. So I think we're gonna mesh them too. So we're just gonna talk in general about music and movies, kind of like that, just go off the cuff like that. And the reason why I like this topic is because I love music, and I love soundtracks, and I just want to kind of revisit what kind of soundtracks that you really liked, because I find myself listening to soundtracks quite a bit, to be honest with you. So something that we could talk about, and maybe what were the soundtracks you liked when you were younger that made an impression on you, and then more recently maybe what kind of soundtracks you kind of listen to now. I'm coming in cold a little bit, so we'll just kind of see what pops up and just talk, what's your favorite John Williams score, stuff like that, some easy stuff like that. So
Okay, I know John Williams, but I know he's done hundreds of amazing scores, so I'd have to Google that. Okay, so maybe we should have laid the rules a little bit, because I was going for top 5, which was hard for me.
We could do top 5. I could do top 5.
Yeah, you could
off of my head.
Yeah,
you could do that.
All right, and I also didn't go off. I didn't look at scores, because scores are so iconic. I mean, you hear, the Imperial Death March. Obviously, It's going to strike a feeling in you.
Mm-hmm.
But soundtracks are. And there's one soundtrack that I've been listening to a lot, which is really odd, because I don't think I've seen the movie for it's probably been 30 years since I've seen the movie, and I actually rewatched it last night, which is Dirty Dancing.
Okay.
I haven't seen that. I haven't actually seen that movie in 30 years. I think the last time I saw it was when we lived in Guam or maybe South Carolina. But I know every single song on that soundtrack, to me, it does something to me that I can't explain.
Does it make you want to dance a little bit?
No, it doesn't make me want to dance, but I know every song on there, and it's it's 60s doo-wop music. It's been the last week I've been trying to listen to soundtracks to figure out which my favorite soundtrack is, and I've listened to that soundtrack the most. Not saying that it's my number one, but I have it ranked at number 4 in my top 5. And it brings the point of how powerful a song can be when you when you hear it. And I don't think I ever would have heard 60s doo-wop music without that movie. So it's interesting, which brings me to my number 5 movie. And I know I'm all over the place. Number 5 soundtrack movie for me is Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a great soundtrack, man.
Yeah.
Love that. I love how it introduces classic rock to the younger generation, and not just mainstream kind of classic rock, kind of like, you know, like the Runaways or like, you know, ELO, kind of their quirkier hits of that kind of era. How kind of it introduces to like, you know, like, I mean, Justin, he loves that soundtrack, you know, and those songs are kind of quirky a little, you know, a little bit. They're not like, you know, totally mainstream hits.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great example. That's a great soundtrack, man.
Right.
And I think it's brilliant. And because Guardians of the Galaxy, like, we love them now, but I didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were when the movie came out. Like, it instantly made a connection with me with like the opening song. And it's just, I think that's what, if it had a different soundtrack, it wouldn't be as good as a movie. And that's what kind of like made, I think, Guardians of the Galaxy such a great movie, is like it brought you in instantly. And it's all because of the music. And it's pretty powerful doing this research, what a soundtrack can absolutely make a movie amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you don't have a smile on your face when Star-Lord's dancing and that opening credits and the first Guardian of the Galaxy, like, what are you doing watching this movie? Like, it's like, that's such a fun scene, and it brings a smile to your face, you know?
Yeah, I imagine everybody in the movie theater was smiling. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, so I find it interesting because I feel like a lot of people, like, I feel like the average movie goer doesn't really I don't want to say care, but like, a lot of people, like, you say, oh, what's your favorite soundtrack? I feel like a lot of people don't really like, they don't see it as important to like some of the elements of making a movie, right? Like, so like, even though it really is, but I think music is so important because it's pretty like universal. Like, we don't really have to understand like what people are saying and like maybe lyrics or anything like that, but a lot of people can relate to music. It like invokes feelings, and a lot of movies, like classics that we consider, they wouldn't be the same like without the themes. Like Indiana Jones would not be the same if it didn't have that that theme in the beginning.
Yeah,
like, da, 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 da. I don't want to sing it. I don't want you guys to get copyrighted.
Yeah, I don't want you either. I don't want you to either.
I mean, no, I think no matter what country you're in, you could literally do that and they would automatically know Indiana Jones. Like,
right.
And you're right. It sparks a feeling that's, you know, insane.
And I think like with a lot of these, like with Jaws, like even if you maybe if you haven't even seen it, you'll probably the first thing you'll probably remember is probably the soundtrack, like dun, and it's so crazy how music is just like ingrained of us, and not just in movies, in video games as well. Like if I start humming the sorry, the theme, how does it go again?
Mario Brothers, like
Mother Brothers, like dun 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 dun. Like everybody and their grandma will know that theme. Like, it's insane. And yeah, music is very powerful. One movie that I recently watched, Whiplash. For those of you who don't know, Whiplash it's about a drummer, and it's about a drummer and trying to become like the best. It's centered around jazz drumming, and I was wondering, like, what if the movie was the same concept, but it wasn't jazz drumming. Let's say it was like rock or grudge or something like that. The movie and the style would be like very different, and like maybe the lighting or maybe certain scenes would change during that movie. But if you guys haven't seen that, Whiplash is so good. It's got J.K. Simmons. Oh, it's really good.
Dude, J.K. Simmons might be the most terrifying person
it's
like in fictional history in that movie. Like,
yeah, that role is insane. He did. That's a great movie. Yeah, I love that.
it really
Great
is.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to get really big into jazz after hearing that because it kind of makes you respect it. And
Mhm.
even if you're not familiar with it, you're like, I want to say everybody walked out of the movie was like, damn, I need to listen to some jazz. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did. I wanted to listen to jazz after that movie, man. Definitely. So
Yeah. He's also the same director of La La Land. If you guys seen that, that's
oh
also
yeah,
really good.
Makes
awesome
a lot of
movie.
sense.
La La Land. Also, going off. Also, I want to talk about also a big part of what's important in TV shows is an opening theme. And I think what got a lot of people, one of the biggest TV shows that I think hooked people from the start is Game of Thrones. That theme is so iconic. Like everybody it really pulls you into that world. You see the map, the land, all the different houses. You're like, oh my God, I'm exploring this world. It's so awesome. Like you just want to get to know. You're like, no, 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 no. And you're like, wow, this is amazing. This is awesome. And another great theme, a fantastic theme, is probably the greatest show of all time, I think, is The Sopranos. The Sopranos
Thank
has
you.
an
Thank
amazing
you.
opening. A fantastic, it just brings you into the world. If you guys haven't seen Sopranos, sorry, I've been wanting to talk about Sopranos. It's a fantastic show and it's so good. Like, if you guys haven't seen it, it's essentially, I think of like Goodfellas, like, but like a TV show, but it's more than that, right? I know I'm going a little off topic here, but back to the opening. The opening, it's essentially it's just a dude, the main character, Tony Soprano, going into New Jersey, and it's just like shots of New Jersey and the different landmarks, and it really pulls you into this world. I mean, I would like it's like this great theme. I mean, I would sing. I don't want to sing it, but
Go ahead, sing
it's
it.
fantastic. It goes like I woke up this morning, got yourself a gun.
Yeah.
Your mama said you told you. It's so good. It's so fantastic. And yeah, it's oh my God, that show is so fantastic. But other than that, like what I was saying, opening TV shows, like theme is like that's supposed to hook you in. I think
Yeah.
another theme's like the Pokemon theme song. Pokemon gotta catch. I feel like people that's a great theme.
That might be a little too young for
Yeah.
our
missed it.
generation, but
That's a good theme. Okay, what about what's another
but
good
you do bring up a good point because the when the HBO icon comes up in the static,
right.
like so at work we started watching because we were on night shift. We started watching Chernobyl, and like the static comes on, and then like the Chernobyl opening comes on. But like one of my coworkers turns around, he's like, "I totally expected Game of Thrones to hear the Game of Thrones music."
Yeah.
And then when we started watching Mayor of Easttown, Sarah and I, like the HBO icon comes up, and Sarah started doing the Game of Thrones like theme song. I was like, it really can, and that's what's so amazing about this topic is, and it's so personal. Personal, like I don't know why Dirty Dancing is a good. It like strikes a nerve with me like that,
Yeah.
but
it's one of the best
such a-
selling soundtracks of all time. I think it was huge when I was growing up. I mean, that movie was huge, man. And that soundtrack, you're right, it's great. And another
Yeah.
soundtrack, I think that it's kind of like Dirty Dancing, but it's more 50s and has a great score. Is the movie Stand By Me?
Oh,
Great
yeah, I listen to
soundtrack.
that too.
Yeah, and Lollipop, take Yakety Yak.
Yeah,
All those great 50s kind of sounds.
it's very similar to the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, like the old,
yeah,
like
how you take a song from the era and then mix it in with the movie, and it frames certain scenes, and it they hit better. So that sound, yeah, I recently watched Stand By Me a couple of days ago, and that soundtrack, even the score, is so great, man. So,
all right, Mike, what do you thinking?
So-
What do you got?
Well, Justin, for starters, I think I get to claim credit for turning you on to The Sopranos and shaming you into watching it. Do I get to claim that, or
I
I mean,
don't know. I think you mentioned it.
I mean,
He's like,
even,
no,
even
my
I,
dad.
either I do or I don't. I mean,
I'll give it a little bit credit. I'll give it a little.
See, I'm
Oh,
gonna admit I've never seen The Sopranos.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, hold on, wait. Before we go into that, Uncle Roger. Okay, everybody's watching. I'm gonna sell them on Sopranos. So Sopranos is it's about a group of mobsters, right? And I know when you hear that, it's like, Goodfellas, Casino, but it's a lot more than that. It's really about like a family. It's about a guy taking care of his family, really. Because even though he's in the mob, it deals with like a lot more because he's going to see like a therapist. He's actually depressed.
Yeah.
And a lot of that show is just him talking to his therapist and him just dealing with depression, him trying to take care of his mom, him trying to just like you have just scenes with him playing Mario Kart with the son. And like the next scene, he's like killing like 10 guys. Like it's just him trying to balance. It's just him trying to balance out all these things while trying to be a good dad, like to his kids. And it's just such an interesting dynamic. And
Oh yeah, I mean it's considered one of the best TV shows of all time.
because when I first watched the first episode, I was like, that was good, and then I turned it off. And I was like, all right, that was good. But then my dad was like, oh no, we gotta rewatch it again. I rewatched it, and I was like, oh my god, this is the best decision of my life. Sorry, I love Sopranos. It's so fantastic. And
See, look at how much joy you have, and you're not willing to give me even an ounce of credit. I think I even shamed you into watching it. Like I think
I do not remember this.
I think I called your TV chops cred into question. I was like, you're a TV person and a movie person. You haven't watched it. Anyway, I won't stay on this point. Anyway, Justin though did steal a little bit of my thunder. So I actually have a playlist, a soundtrack playlist, but it's more, there's 3 movies who I'm going to tie for like 5th place in there. And it is La La Land. It is Whiplash. Those 2 movies. You're right. Everybody's right. It's like, I want to be a jazz person. And then I go try to find other jazz music. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And I can't get into it. And it's the movie that makes you want it bad. And I love Whiplash. But the other one, I'm going to throw this movie in here so I can look interesting and appear like I'm an insider, into movies. Rudderless. If y'all haven't seen Rudderless, I would highly encourage it. Great story. But there is the soundtrack is pretty good. So what it is, this movie is about, it's really a good setup, and I'm not going to spoil it because you guys are going to go watch it. I'm going to encourage you to watch it, but it's this dad that's mourning the death of his son. And his son, it alludes that the dad was a musician, but his son was in college when he died. And his son left behind a whole bunch of recordings. And the dad takes these recordings and starts playing them to kind of like cope. And then he meets this kid in a bar, and then this young kid, kind of like his son's age, and they start playing all this music together. And it's a great story, but the soundtrack's great. It didn't blow up, but it's just good. So I'm going to encourage you guys.
I've never even heard of it. Like,
yeah, Rudderless. And that's why I'm saying it, because you guys haven't heard of it, and it makes me look like the insider. And I'm like, I've got an inside track to something you guys don't know, which is never happens. That never happens
when it comes to movies.
Yeah, Rudderless, not amazing, good, but the soundtrack is fun to listen to.
But I think that comes back to, it's got Daniel Day-Lewis in it.
No.
That's not Daniel Day-Lewis.
Actually, we watched it when you visit. You
watched it.
It's great. It's a great movie. I liked it.
Yeah,
that's
right. I remember watching it with you, Rodney.
Yeah. It's really good, man.
So I like that soundtrack. That's actually one I can listen to in the car on occasion. These aren't soundtracks, but because there's a major motion picture, and because it's on Disney Plus, I'm going to call them soundtracks, which is Hamilton and Les Mis. Those 2, man, I will like those two. I'm calling them soundtracks, even though they're musicals. I can listen to those on long road trips, like the whole thing, start to finish. And in fact, for Father's Day, we got back from Les Mis today. So that was live, and it sort of rekindled my love for that soundtrack. So those 2 are up there. But then I'll finish by saying my number 1 all time, Breakfast Club. It's not even close for me. And that's just, you grow up as a kid and it becomes your favorite movie, and then all the songs in it are great. almost all the songs in it are great. And you know, that was a movie that I watched it so many times, like I probably can recite the first half of the movie, every character's line, like just go all the way through it. But the music, there's a lot of great music scenes in it. And so yeah. That's where I'm at. I would also throw in there Back to the Future for nostalgia.
Oh yeah,
great soundtrack. I love
Great,
that.
yeah.
Also throw that in
All
there.
those are great. All those are great.
Yeah, and so I didn't take musicals into account for this because
They don't really count, but
recently, hands down, Hamilton is absolutely phenomenal. Like, I mean, I think we could spend. I think we could do another podcast just on musicals because I know, Mike, you're a huge fan of musicals. And I mean, I think we could spend a podcast just talking about Hamilton and how great that is. But yeah, very, very good points. I definitely love musicals, probably not as much as Mike, just because I haven't gotten into them as much. But man, Hamilton's blown me away. Like every time I hear a song from there, I want to listen to the whole thing. But
Have you seen In the Heights, the new Lin-Manuel?
no, I do want to watch. Is it good?
It's very
I mean,
good.
it's really good actually. I mean, it does sound a little It's like a kind of like an opening act to Hamilton. The songs maybe they're not as polished as Hamilton, obviously, because he's first musical. But I still enjoy enjoy the movie. I thought it was a great movie, but you'll like it, man. It is a little long too, but other soundtracks I really love. I mean, musicals is. I love a movie, Chicago. I'm not sure if you heard of that. I think it's a great musical.
Heard of it.
I think the one that Spielberg's redoing. Man, I just forgot.
West Side Story.
West Side
Yeah.
Story.
West
I like
Side
that
Story.
musical. I think there's some great songs in West Side Story. I think Spielberg's gonna knock it out of the park, man, with that one. And then some musicals that are not really musicals, they're kind of like indie movies. They're made overseas. There was a movie called Sing Street that was a great soundtrack. I don't know if you or heard of that movie. And then a movie called Once that was probably early 2000 has a great soundtrack also. They're kind of musicals, but they're a lot smaller scale. So I think those two movies are worth checking out if you like music and movies kind of mixing in. So some of my favorite soundtracks. I don't have really a top 5 because they're always switching. I love Natural Born Killers. I love.
Oh man, I forgot about that soundtrack, man.
I wore that soundtrack out when I was
remember
younger.
that, dude. That was
brilliant soundtrack. There's a rom-com called Singles I grew up with. It had a lot of grunge in it. I love that soundtrack. I love. Let's see. Guardians of the Galaxies, you kind of stole that one from me. That's one of my all-time favorite soundtracks. So I even got the record. I think Mike sent me that record so I have that. I always spin there on the record. And then
Guardian of the Galaxy vinyl.
Yeah,
vinyl. I think I did.
Yeah, so I love that. Boogie Nights, one of my favorite movies, my favorite soundtrack of all time.
Damn, Rodney.
And then Dazed and Confused is a great soundtrack. Even though it's just a lot of it's just classic rock, but just the songs enhance the movie so much, the feeling of a movie. Really love that soundtrack. Recent soundtrack is Straight Outta Compton. I know it's a lot of NWA songs, but I really love that. I think it's not a musical, but I think music obviously plays an important role in that movie. And then I was younger, the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack with Leonardo DiCaprio. I listen to that a lot. Moulin Rouge, I listen to that.
Oh, thank you. See,
quite a
that
bit.
Should be in there for me too.
Yeah, a lot of these were younger soundtracks. And as far as scores, man, my favorite score of all time, honestly, I don't know why, is probably Jurassic Park, man. I think that is just my favorite. Just that theme. It's so melancholy and so grand and so majestic. How it gives these dinosaurs like a soul. And every time I hear the Jurassic Park theme, dude, It's just, I don't know what it is, dude. It's just the best John Williams soundtrack of all time. Yes, it's better than like, I don't know. I mean, Star Wars is up there, but like the Jurassic Park theme, dude, just always gets me, man. Love that theme, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the same. That's the. Are you saying?
No, go ahead. I was gonna pass it to you.
I was gonna say that's the same for me. With Harry Potter, that theme at the opening, it sounds so magical. It sounds so mystical. It just takes you to a different world. It's wow, yeah, it's really good. Yeah,
that is a great score.
Another soundtrack that I really like. It's a movie called Drive. It stars Ryan Gosling.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Very good.
Yeah, that's a great soundtrack, man. That got me into sync pop a little bit more. So
really good. It's about a getaway driver. So good. Another one is it's an anime film. It's called Akira. I don't know if you guys heard of it. It's it's really good. Man. Akira? Yeah, Akira is really good. I like that. And what else?
Oh, dude, Akira's got iconic music, man.
Yeah.
When they're driving through Neo Tokyo.
It's so good.
Phenomenal, man.
Social Network has a killer soundtrack, man.
Yes.
You know, Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor, man, that's a brilliant soundtrack.
What about so recent movies? I remember, when I was doing the research for all this stuff or trying to, figure out my top 5, I had a lot of trouble, even though modern movies like Baby Driver has a phenomenal soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was like, watching it in the movie theater, I was like, damn, this is a great soundtrack. Like it just doesn't stick out to me. Like I don't know if it's just nostalgia that overpowers, my decision of my favorite soundtrack is Stand By Me and Dirty Dancing, because I don't know why it brings me back 30 years ago. So
I don't think it's that, man. I mean, because you just said I like, Guardians of the Galaxy is clearly an amazing soundtrack, but those, just because the songs are old, like it's the combination of the two. So yeah, it's a great soundtrack. And I like Baby Driver. It's a great movie, but the songs don't hit with the movie as well. Like they can both stand by themselves pretty well. And yeah, it hits, it's good, but it's not Guardian of the Galaxy combo good.
Yeah,
it's a combination of the two.
I actually just thought of this one, and maybe Justin will relate to this more than you two, is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, yes.
Dude, that's a great phenomenal soundtrack, man.
It's good.
Yeah.
The Sex Bombs.
Yeah.
Like
this, it's really good.
A low key, like one of my favorites is from Planet Terror. So all the music from Planet Terror, which is my favorite movie of all time, is actually from Robert Rodriguez's band called Ching On. So so it's tied in with the score and music, but yeah, just like really really awesome. Like when I was like watching it, I was like, man, this band is dope. And it's Robert Rodriguez's band. So
I feel like if we're talking about soundtracks, we gotta obviously mention Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction.
Also, I spun that CD in my car so many times, man. So yeah, it's a great pick. All these movies have great soundtracks, man. Kill Bill, Jackie Brown. I mean, this goes on and on, man.
Delphonics,
which is crazy because we've gone about 35 minutes into this podcast, and that's the first time we've mentioned a Quentin Tarantino soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which his movies are so iconic, and like when I hear Al Green, like I think of Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Like when I think of Stuck in the Middle with You, I think of Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, I think of Reservoir Dogs. Of him chopping the ear off, man.
Like his music, and he always, like, even my least favorite movie of Quentin Tarantino is Death Proof. Even that soundtrack is phenomenal, man. Like he definitely has
Django Unchained.
Django Unchained, yeah.
Moving me down the highway.
Yeah,
Jim Croce.
Also,
he's got great stuff.
another soundtrack, two of them, but it's nostalgic for me because it's my favorite superhero movie of all time, Spider-Man 2. Like the theme, Sam Raimi Spider-Man, Danny Elfman, that score, da 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 da, and the Into the Spider-Verse has a fantastic soundtrack. Miles Morales, so good.
Yes.
It sounds so modern. As Sunflower, I feel like everybody when that song came out, everybody was rocking that song. The song is so good.
It's even got
Sunflower,
Black Alicious on there, which is like
yeah.
probably 20 years old. But yeah, like when I heard that, I was like, oh shit, man, I used to listen. Like, it's definitely a good soundtrack. Yeah. Let's see. So I feel like my top 5 is kind of weak now because we got like scores and like musicals in here, which I didn't.
Well, we're just gonna jump them all together. This doesn't really matter. Like,
yeah. So
Matters to me, Roger. Get it right.
number 3, I have Clueless. The Clueless soundtrack
That's
is
a great soundtrack, man.
phenomenal.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
2 for me is Pulp Fiction. Dude, I remember, so back in the day when Rodney had a car, and I think you were still in high school, I was in like middle school, you got the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. Dad goes in to like take your car somewhere, and first track of Pulp Fiction starts up, and it's like I love you, everybody. I love you too. It's like, and then you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute every fucking last one of you. And my dad's just like, okay. And then freaking Mr. Lou starts. Oh man, it's just a killer soundtrack, man.
Yeah.
That
is.
So yeah, that always is gonna hold a place in my heart. And for me, number 1 is Dazed and Confused. Like classic rock is just a big part of music that I love, man. And it's got like, oh man, the opening like of Dazed and Confused with like Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith. It's just like you're watching the movie, you're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be such a good movie.
And I mean, Sweet Emotion was on Armageddon too. I think Armageddon has a pretty cheesy 90s soundtrack too.
Man, dude. And the Aerosmith song from Armageddon is phenomenal, man. What is it?
Yeah.
It's a,
I would die for you.
Yeah.
No, it's
that's that's
Robin Hood. Close my eyes.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to miss a thing, right?
I don't want to miss a thing, dude.
Bruce Willis like sacrificed himself, something like that.
Dude,
Con Air soundtrack, that's a good soundtrack.
I mean, I don't remember much from it, but Con Air is a good movie, kind of.
That kind of reminds me of Top Gun.
Top Gun.
Top Gun's iconic soundtrack, man. Come on.
Yeah, it is iconic. But so I'm probably gonna get. So I think Michael Bay, Armageddon, is a phenomenal movie. The soundtrack, it makes me want to cry every time at the end. I don't care what you guys think of me.
You get so sentimental, man. Yeah.
I love movies, but that movie is gotta be in my top. Man, I dare to say it's in my top 10 movies of all time. And I know Michael Bay gets a lot of hate, but I absolutely love that movie, man.
You know, it's a great another great theme. Titanic's theme.
Titanic, man.
Titanic.
Sarah mentioned Titanic. She's like, so what do you think about? I was like, Celine Dion. Like, I saw that.
So emotional.
Yeah, I saw that in the movie theater with my sister when I lived in Charlotte, and I cried watching that movie. Yeah, and like, yeah, that song is iconic, man.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we didn't mention Lord of the Rings score. Like the Lord of the Rings score is like freaking phenomenal too.
That's probably in my top 5. But I think like I said with the Harry Potter theme, it's like magical. The Shire's theme, like it's so It's so good. Like introducing you see that Hobbit door. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. Another good movie, or well, I don't think I've actually ever seen the movie, is Whitney Houston, The Bodyguard.
Yeah, that sold millions of records, man.
I could probably get down to every song on that. Like, there was something also about 90s R&B for me that just like it does it for me, man. It's just so good.
Trainspotting had a good soundtrack. I don't remember that movie. Rushmore was a good soundtrack. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was
I can't believe
soundtrack.
I didn't mention that.
Yeah,
that might have been my top 5.
Yeah, I think that's considered a top like 10 of all time, to be honest. But yeah, good stuff.
I'll tell
What's
you
your
what,
favorite Pixar soundtrack, Raj? Since you have a lot of kids, so you watch a lot of Pixar movies.
Yeah, Disney, something like that.
Yeah, Pixar, Disney.
Man, I don't know. I've heard
Aladdin. Honestly, Aladdin's probably my top 5.
Yeah, I mean, well, Aladdin's my favorite Disney movie, so it probably is number 1 for me. But with having a 3-year-old who wants to watch Disney movies, it's been a lot of Moana. Moana's a really good soundtrack.
I agree.
Phil Collins, Tarzan.
Underrated. One of the most underrated Disney soundtracks. Son of Man and Strangers Like Me. I put that against any song on Frozen, and it holds up. I'll put that on. I'm calling it out. Like Son of Man, Strangers Like Me. Come on, man. That holds up to anything.
So good.
And the soundtrack to Hunchback of Notre Dame is
was
a great soundtrack. But
surprisingly, it's a lot of people probably like haven't seen it or like forgot about it. It's like the darkest like thing that Disney has probably put out. Like one of the darkest things that Disney has put out. It's
I haven't seen it in forever. I don't know.
Villain, the villain's a priest.
Yeah, that's got to be.
Yeah, it's like it's good.
I mean, I think I would have to go to like the golden age of Disney movies where it's like Little Mermaid, which I think has a phenomenal soundtrack.
Yeah.
Aladdin and Lion King.
Yeah. Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast too. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I mean, I've heard Frozen 1 and 2 like 8,000 times because I have a 3-year-old
No,
girl.
thank you. No, thank you.
Mike has probably heard it more than I have.
Yeah. Favorite Pixar soundtrack is probably Up or
Ratatouille.
To be honest, yeah. Great soundtracks, man.
Have you seen Luca?
Yeah, we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Was that yesterday?
Yeah,
it was cute, a little lighthearted. I mean, it's not the top tier Pixar. It's more mid tier. I mean, every Pixar movie can be Up or Toy Story.
It's still really, really good.
Yeah, I saw like the first half of it today, and I thought it was good.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? You got any last bits to add to this, or looks like you've been
I would
a lot.
I would just say that I'm just really excited about Justin's newfound obsession with Sopranos. Justin, when I get to work, I'm going to send you a photo. I actually have a framed photo of Tony Soprano on my desk. Now,
oh really?
I'm a little ashamed to say that I have no pictures of my family, but I do have a picture of Tony Soprano on my desk. Now, it's not your everyday Tony Soprano pic. It's somebody on Reddit, went to Photoshop and they did this really perfect photo of Tony Soprano. And only Soprano fans see it, get it, and understand it. It's perfect. I'll send you a pic. It's unbelievable. I tried to buy the guy's artwork, and he's like, I don't sell artwork, so I ripped it off and printed it off a colored printer and put it in a cheap $2 frame because it was perfect. So I'll send it to you, man. You're gonna love it. But that's all I got. That's all I got.
Nice.
Awesome.
Rodney, you got any last words?
No, just have had fun talking about, something light a little, recently. So pretty cool. Thanks for hanging out with us, Justin. And then Rod, you got to watch The Sopranos. Come on. You love The Wire.
Yeah.
It's just as good as The Wire. I mean, The Wire
Dude,
has 30, 40
I've tried to watch
characters.
The Wire. You can't compare them.
So
I thought Breaking Bad, I still love Breaking Bad. I think it's amazing, but The Sopranos is it's just so good. I can't explain how this is gonna sound so terrible, but Sopranos literally changed my life. I'm not even gonna say it actually changed my life. It's that good because every character in Sopranos has an arc, right? The daughter's boyfriend has an arc. His son gets his own arc. Every character has a beginning, middle, and end. And the way that Sopranos ends, it's fantastic. It's amazing. Oh my god, it's just so good. Oh my god, Uncle Roger, you have to watch it. I know. I'm just so excited about it. It's so good. I'm thinking about rewatching it again.
I like to see that passion, man. Yeah, it's when I was kind of doing research or man, what is my favorite, soundtrack? I kind of had trouble. I didn't know how easy and free flowing this podcast would go, but it's gone almost an hour now, and I think we could even still talk more. But yeah, it was a good topic, Rodney. It does bring out a lot of emotions. It brought out a lot of emotions for me, a lot of nostalgia. So I enjoyed doing that.
You know what would be a good double header for you, Raj? You would really like is Rudderless and Sing Street. They're kind of like a double header, and you really like those two movies, where music plays an important role in those movies, man. I think that movie Mike was talking about, great movie.
Yeah.
And then Sing Street. Sing Street is a great movie, dude. Justin loves Sing Street too, and it has a great soundtrack. So I think you'll really love those movies, dude.
I need to dial that up.
Yeah, for real. All right, Justin. How do you feel about being on one of the least watched podcasts on YouTube?
It'd be funny if this blows up, and then people will see this, and they'll have millions of views, and then everyone's got to start somewhere. And I had fun talking about it. So it's fun. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's been great having you. When I visited you guys a year and a half ago, it's been so long since I've seen you, and now that you're grown up and you've got such interesting takes on a lot of things Rodney likes, who is my brother, who is a huge influence on a lot of things I like. So it's good to hear your perspective on a lot of things. Maybe I'm channeling my younger 20s self into you when I hear your perspective on these things. So it's been awesome having you on. I was so pumped you wanted to be on it. So yeah.
I just wanted to talk about Sopranos, honestly. That's my game. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice. So all right. So what are you watching now? What are you into right now? What's on your playlist?
Oh, me? I've been listening to right now.
Put you
I'm
on
not
the
sure.
spot,
I mean,
I?
yeah, because there's so much things I'm thinking about right now.
He's been pretty busy with school, actually. So
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, if you ain't got an answer,
I'm just thinking.
You ain't gotta make one up. What are you playing right now, gaming wise?
Gaming wise, Oh, actually, that funny you mentioned that. I have a have you heard of a game series called Mass Effect?
Yeah.
Mass Effect. It is because Mass Effect 2 is my favorite video game of all time.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
You got to show them what you got, Justin.
Oh, I got a
PS5?
no. I got a signed autograph of because the main character of the Mass Effect series, he was like signing autographs and stuff like that, and yeah, like I got an autograph from him, and
Nice.
yeah, that was it. That was like really cool, and the reason I mentioned like Mass Effect because it's just oh my god, it's so good. The characters and Mass Effect, it's so fantastic. It's probably like it's like if Star Wars like put effort into making the races, like you know what I mean? Because like in Star
Yeah.
Wars, like somebody hits randomize on the alien, and every alien just looks like random. You know what I mean? You have a guy with like long neck, like in Mass Effect, like every people have like the aliens, like their backgrounds are just so interesting and like oh my god, like it's just so cool. Like you'll talk to a character and he'll like tell you about how he was in a musical, and this has nothing to do with saving the galaxy. It has nothing to do with the main story. But like, why is this in the game? And because it just builds his character, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh wow, that's really interesting. And he'll actually sing for you. You're like, what is this? And it's just good character development. And I just love story driven games, and it's just a fantastic. And like, if you play Mass Effect, like it's like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like you can't just watch one and then be done. You got to like play the whole thing because
Yeah.
you can because your character like goes through the whole series. So like the choices you make will affect, and it's just great. Like when I was really young, I wanted to be like a writer for BioWare. That's how much I loved Dragon Age, Mass Effect. I loved their games, and then everybody I loved just left because yeah.
I mean, Mass Effect, and I hear it all the time when it's, a Reddit thread pops up. It's like, what's your favorite video game of all time? Mass Effect is always on there. And yeah, I've never played any of them. I know the remastered just came out, right? Like a couple months ago.
Yeah, I'm playing that again. I've been Mass Effect 2 like 15 times. Like I never get tired of that game.
Yeah, it is something I need to play through. But let me tell you the game I'm playing now, because the old guys to my right, Rodney and Mike, will never play it. And it's a phenomenal game that won like several Game of the Year awards last year. Hades, man. Have you played it?
No, I've seen people play it. It looks really good.
Dude, it is so good, man. Like it's a roguelike. Yeah, and it's gonna come out on PlayStation and Xbox in like a month or two.
Oh, okay. I'll just
and it's only like $25, man. It is such a good game, man. Like it's phenomenal. I offered to buy it for Rodney to gift it to him like through Steam, but he was like, nah, I'm not gonna play it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my dad into more games instead of just WoW, but I don't know. He's
all right. Well, we'll end on that note. It's good catching up with everybody. Had a great time. And for the next podcast, Mike, you want the topic for the next one?
Yeah. Do you want me to come up with it now?
No, you don't have to do it now.
Okay, I'll
if you
come
can,
up with
if
one.
you want to.
You know what's floating through my head is assigning everybody some older movie to watch, and we do a movie review on it, an older movie.
That'd be cool too, man.
Okay.
Like pre-1980.
Pre-1980?
Yeah, something that we're not really familiar with, something we should go back and watch, something we've heard people talk about, but we never actually do ourselves.
Have you guys seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
It's been a long, long time.
Yeah, it's been a while
kid when I saw it, but that would probably be a great example.
Yeah.
Anyway, there we go.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us again. It's been a blast.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
All right.